Hey folks, as you can see, I'm out here doing some more yard cleanup. This is a regular annual thing for me. I don't know what it is about my property, but the Chinese privet, or hedge as we call it around here, grows along my property like nothing I've ever seen. It grows almost as fast as I can cut it down. So throughout the year, brush builds up and builds up and builds up, and if you look behind me here, all of that right there, that is like a 6 to 7 foot pile high. It's 6 or 7 foot high pile of brush, tree limbs, hedges, all kinds of stuff I've cut down around my property, trying to keep the overgrowth under control. And in my area, there's certain times of the year you can't burn, simply because the risk of fire spreading is just too dangerous. So that's just piled up for like a year now, and as you can see, I'm trying to burn a little bit of it today, but I'm going to have to quit because the wind is picking up. But anyway, that's not what I'm wanting to make this video for. What I'm making this video for is, this is what I'm doing right now, but the whole purpose of it is to take some time, walk around my property. Sorry about that. Walk around my property and try to figure out what my plan is for this fall and this winter, as far as what kind of projects I'm going to take on, what kind of work I need to get done. I've got an old, I don't know if you can see it, all this right here. It's old chicken coop that I had built one time out of scrap lumber. The thing's caved in, it's falling apart. I need to tear it down and clear it out. I've got all this brush behind me I need to clear out. And I've got all of that I need to burn, but it's going to take several days. And it's going to have to happen over several weekends, probably over the next 6 months, for me to get that cleared up. The goal, I've been wanting to build a new blacksmith shop because the current shop I've got now is it's falling apart. And I need to build a new one. The idea was for it to go right up there. I've got a security light way up there on that pole, and I was going to build the shop over here between that pole and this giant oak back here. So I was going to build me a new blacksmith shop there. Again, like I said, I've got this rundown chicken coop back here I want to tear down to make room for planting out some rabbit hutches and a chicken coop with a small run. And I've got a whole lot of brush over here that I want to clear out as well. I've got a couple of problem trees I need to try to figure out how I'm going to take care of. One is this big boy right here. I took down one limb last year, and in the process I damaged part of my fence. The other side, it's a double trunk tree. The other side, I'm honestly scared to touch it. I'm not a very experienced tree feller, and it's not big enough to climb. I have no ladder tall enough to get up there to it, but the way it's twisted and everything, it's hanging. If I cut it, it's going to hit my roof, and it's really dead. I mean, it's still got some, it's still solid, but it's dying, and it presents a threat to the house. I've got a couple of other trees here that are like that. One of which, if you look behind me here, this big old, see if I can show you right, there we go. That big leaning tree right there, that is a huge pine tree leaning right towards my neighbor's house. So I need to get the property cleaned out around both of these trees, so I can get somebody in here and try to give me an estimate on what it would take to take these down. It's not going to be cheap, but it'll be even more expensive if this pine tree behind me falls on my neighbor's house, or this cherry tree right here hits my roof and takes out a portion of my roof. So regardless of how expensive it is to take these trees down, it'll be cheaper in the long run than the alternative. But yeah, I mean, I'm just out here trying to do a little bit of cleanup for a couple of hours today. I got a late start because I got sidetracked with some other stuff. And I'm just trying to figure out what I want to do with this property that will give me a little bit more security regardless of whatever happens. And again, like I said, right here behind me, you can see all this brush. That's going to take time to clean that up. It's going to take a lot of time to clear all that out. That coop behind me there, I got to take that down, salvage what I can, and get dispose of the rest. Those are the two projects I see ahead of me right now, is just clearing all of this out, removing that pen, and hopefully I would like to, I've been talking about it for over a year now, about building a new blacksmith shop right there. And I'm hoping maybe this winter I can actually get started on that. That would be one of the ideal goals here. It's not going to be a huge shop. It's going to be something like a 10 by 15 maybe, with an overhang for my forge and everything. And then maybe I can start doing some forging videos as it relates to homesteading, prepping, or whatever. But that's what I'm doing today. Not a overly productive day as much as I would like, because I'm mostly having to stand here and just try to keep an eye on this fire. Like I said, I started burning this morning. I've only been burning for about an hour, but then all of a sudden the wind started picking up, so I'm blowing ashes and everything everywhere, and everything's really dry around here right now. So I'm concerned about the risk of a fire catching somewhere unintentionally. So I'm gonna have to let this burn down. So I'm not gonna get as much done as I thought I would. I'd planned to take a big chunk out of all that crap over there, but it doesn't look like it's gonna work out that way today. As you can see, and probably here, it's kind of windy out here today. It's really picked up since I started the fire. But that's what I'm doing. Now is a great time to be planning on what you're going to do over the next 3, 4, 5, 6 months. Winter, there's not a lot of foraging you can do. There's a little bit, but there's not a lot. You can do hunting, but there's not a lot you can do as far as growing food and foraging. There's a few crops you can grow, but winter really is the best time to plan out the projects that you can't get done during the summer because you're too busy working in your garden or working on other things. Also, it's a lot cooler in the winter, so a lot of the heavy lifting and hard labor stuff that it would normally be too hot to do, or the heat of summer would make it difficult to do, that's a lot easier to get done in the winter. You're not going to have the temperatures up into the mid to upper 90s or even the low hundreds. You're not going to have that high heat index. And in my area, it doesn't snow every year, and snow's not uncommon, but it doesn't happen every year either. So we don't get like a foot or two of snow like some parts of the country. So it's really an ideal time for tackling the bigger projects that we couldn't get to during the spring and summer. Another project that I would like to get to, I don't know if I'll be able to, is I have a problem with water seeping into my basement, mainly due to me not having any gutters on the house. And it was like that when I bought the place. So that's a project that already existed. But one of my goals was to clear all this, and as you can see, it keeps growing up. Clear all this out, bring in a small mini excavator, dig away from this wall, and just waterproof that wall really good, fill back in. Before I can do that though, I really need to try to take this tree down. Just because I want to get it out of the way, and then at some point I've got to do the same thing to the front side of the house along the basement wall. I got to dig out from that, waterproof that wall, and then it's not going to be long before I have to re-roof the house, put up gutters, you know, typical homeowner maintenance and upkeep. But between now and then, that's stuff that I can do to help waterproof the basement, to make my basement more usable. Right now, I've got so much water seepage when it rains real heavy that I can't really do anything with the basement as far as storage. It's way too damp and moist down there to put food or any other kind of preps down there. They'll all get ruined. And that's a large area. It's easily a I don't know, 20 by 30, if not better, size basement. It's a large work area and storage area that I could be using for storing preps, storing food, setting up a little work area for working on guns, bows, doing some finish work on some knives and things like that. And right now I can't use that space. So that's really weighing on me as far as trying to get that done. The blacksmith shop I need to get done also because, like I said, my current shop is falling apart. It's developing a lot of leaks, and I've got a lot of expensive equipment in there for knife making that I need to protect. I don't need that to get wet and get ruined. And the knives, I don't make a lot of money off that, but it is a little bit of money every now and then, and I have paid more than one bill with that. So that is important for me to be able to keep that going. Those are the big projects I'm seeing ahead of me this winter right now, though, is the tearing down this old chicken coop, making room, clearing it out so I can start planning to build a larger one. Even if I don't get chickens right now, I can at least be planning out where I'm going to put the coop. Clearing that out and starting on the blacksmith shop, and then working on waterproofing that side of the basement and taking down these trouble trees. That may not seem like a lot. It may not seem like glamorous stuff. I'm not building a bunker or buying $1,500 worth of freeze-dried foods or pallets of ammo and stuff like that, but it's all stuff that really needs to be done, particularly if I intend to make sure that this little homestead of mine is safe, secure, and can support me and my family. So these are the things I'm thinking about. I'm just taking a day while I was trying to do a little bit of cleanup to think about what needs to be done, what order I need to do it in, how best to accomplish it, you know, things like that. Now is a great time to plan. It's still warm outside, at least in my area. It's getting considerably cooler during the afternoons and at night. And it's just the best time to go ahead and be planning that out so that I can get this done. Over the upcoming holidays, I'll have a couple of extra days off each holiday. I can come out here and I can try to get some of this stuff, at least make some progress on some of this. And I know, like I said, I've talked about the blacksmith shop for about a year or two now, and I've yet to get started on it. I had that cleared out at one point, ready to build, and then I just got slammed at work and didn't have any time. And then I ended up piling it up with brush trimmings and tree limbs and stuff from just trying to maintain the property. So now I got to clear it out again. But before it gets really cold, take some time, walk around your property, figure out what projects you need to get done that you haven't got done this past summer. And this winter is a good time for building, for repairing, and for just doing the things you couldn't get to during the heat of the summer. So that's what I'm doing. I think that's what you should be doing too. Unless you live in a part of the country where you get tons of snow every year, in which case you're probably under a bigger time constraint than I am, because I've got all winter I can work on stuff like this. You have until the first snowfall, because in some places, once that snow starts falling, you're locked down. You can't do much. Your timetable might be a little bit different than mine. But this is what I got to get done, and this is what I'm thinking about right now. I'm still prepping otherwise. I'm still stocking food, medical supplies, water, all the usual stuff. But these are the big projects that I'm trying to look at and see if and when I can get done. There's a lot of money involved in getting these things done, and as I've said before, I'm far from being rich. So I've got to figure out what I can pay for now and what I can't, before I get anybody out here to even quote me on the trees. I got to get this property cleaned up where we can get to them and look at them. And this property, I don't know, if I didn't know any better, I'd say I was living on top of an underground ocean of Miracle-Gro, because this stuff just grows ridiculously fast around here. It's so hard to keep up with this stuff. If I don't come out here once a week and cut grass, it's next thing you know, it's 6, 7, 8, 9 inches tall. And along the fence line on the property, this hedge, I can cut it back, and in 2 weeks it's already grown back up again, or at least it seems that way. So that's a screw. Apparently that was in some old scrap wood I burned. That's a heck of a screw. Anyway, that's all I've got. Just wanted to talk about some of the stuff that I'm trying to think about, plan for today. I'm not trying out to work myself to death today, because I've got a big week coming up, and I was trying to rest up a little bit. But we got to stay busy. Anyway, that's all I've got. I appreciate you guys watching. Like, share, subscribe if you haven't. And until next time, folks, keep prepping and take care. I'll catch you later.